We remain with the reopening of schools and our reporters stationed across the country to follow the first day of the academic year. Ntando Mnyandu is in Verulam, that's in KwaZulu-Natal. Refiloe Sekobo monitoring the situation in the Northwest Province. Zikhona Tshona is stationed in Polokwane Province. In fact, that is where we are going to start. Zikhona, good morning to you. Tell us exactly where you are in Limpopo Province, and importantly, what is day one looking like of school?
We are at Refiloe Secondary School. This is where the MEC and the Premier of the province have just addressed learners here ahead of the 2024 academic year, encouraging learners to be disciplined in their education, but also a special message for the class of 2024 to say they will have to make sacrifices in order to ensure that they do achieve their goals. We know that this school in particular performed really well in the 2022 matric results, so expected this year was a high number of people wanting to register to be at the school particularly. We know that the MEC has also highlighted that this has also affected the teacher to pupil ratio, to say there is overcrowding, particularly in the matric class, and they are hoping to address that. But a big focus for Limpopo this year and going forward is to do away with pit latrine toilets. We know that this province has over the years made headlines for sanitation when it comes to schooling, but they're saying they are halfway there. They are halfway to solving the problem, and the goal is to continue making sure that it is eradicated, but also just make sure that no schools have pit latrines in their backyards. So from what we hear from the leaders that are visiting these schools, they're saying the academic year for 2024 has gone relatively well. They will only be able to give a number of what the intake was after they've concluded registering pupils that are currently in the waiting list. Huge concern, speaking to the MEC, there is no school for children specifically with autism in this province. The entire province only has special needs centers, and we have seen Autism SA saying that there need to be facilities that accommodate and have trained educators that can deal with autistic children. We will be speaking to parents that have been forced to live with their children in their homes because there are simply no centers or facilities near them to accommodate their learners. So that is very concerning, particularly because we do know around this time the main focus is mainstream education, but not to be forgotten are children with special needs that also need quality education and access to education.
Zikhona Tshona live for us there in Polokwane. Thank you very much for that update. We'll keep tabs with her as the day progresses. Well, let's bring you this now. And the first day of schooling has been less than ideal for pupils in parts of KwaZulu-Natal who've had to cross rivers to get to school. In fact, Newzroom Afrika's Ntando Mnyandu witnessed this in the area of Zwelisha village. This is an area just outside of Verulam. Let's speak to him now. And Ntando, good morning to you. Explain to us just the trouble that pupils had to go through just to get to school.
Good morning to you, Toli, and our viewers at home. Yes, you're spot on. You know, in as much as we are receiving reports that, the first day of school took off on a good start in most parts of the province. But there are those parts that were affected severely by the floods that, befell this part of the country on Saturday last week. So we are currently coming to you live from Zwelisha, where we witnessed in the early hours of the morning, as my colleague Sibongiseni Ngubane gives you a glimpse of what is currently the situation on the ground. So we witnessed school children, queuing, taking turns to cross using this tree log that fell during the floods. So the tree was completely uprooted, but now it provides a much needed lifeline to communities from Zwelisha, which is on the other side of this river. So this river is called Uhlange River. You know, it cuts across two neighborhoods, which is one of your affluent suburbs called Phoenix, and then on the other side it is Zwelisha, where mostly you would find your shacks and informal settlements. So school children will travel from Zwelisha across this river to schools in the Phoenix area. Particularly, there is a school next door called Sastry Park. So that's where most kids go to from this place. But what happened is that during floods, a bridge that was a lifeline connecting these two communities, you know, was completely wiped away, and it was hard this morning for school children to go across the river and to go access their schools, as it was the first day of school and it still remains the first day of school. So this is not only hard for pupils or for school children. We've seen people who are rushing for work, and those who are just going about doing their business, trying to cross, as you would see right now, an elderly lady, you know, with her flip-flops on her hand. She's navigating her way out of across this river, which then has become, you know, something normal for them. That for them to get to the other side, it's either they walk through the river barefoot inside the water, or they try to navigate their way using this tree log. So right now the situation is not really conducive for school learners to go to school, but well, they decided to brave these conditions and walk through using this tree log to go and be there on the first day of school, as the 2024 school calendar year, you know, kicks off, Xoli.
Oh, Ntando Mnyandu, the visuals you are beaming to us there, very troubling indeed. And you could see the elderly lady trying to make her way across that tree log, and she just is not able to bring herself to do that because it's quite a dangerous situation. The young people able to do that, yes, with ease, but it is still a very troublesome way of trying to cross one part in order to be able to go and do what they need to do. You can see that old lady now going across the river, actually deciding to go right inside the water. And Ntando Mnyandu, let's thank you very much for that update. Sad pictures indeed coming to us from KZN there. All right, let's take you now to the northwest, and that is where the premier of that province, Bushi Mape, is visiting Dingake Primary School. And this is during the State of the Province address, Mape announcing, you'll recall, that the feeding scheme program will be bolstered. Let's get an update now from Newzroom Afrika's Refiloe Sekobo, who is there for us. Refiloe, good morning to you. So bring us up to speed about that school feeding scheme. The Premier making this commitment in his last State of the Province address. Has there been any progress?
Let's find out from the MEC of Education in the Northwest Province to find out on how that feeding scheme and school nutrition program are ongoing, or how the program is going so far, particularly also looking at that today is the reopening of schools. But allow me to welcome MEC Mutsumi. Thank you so much and welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Let's talk about today. You have been on the monitoring process of preparing for the reopening of schools.
Fifi, let me start by indicating that as the Department of Education in the Northwest Province, since this morning, we received positive reports from different districts regarding the reopening of schools, where the attendance of learners, both learners and educators, are good. So I'm really happy about it. Today, I can indicate that I'm here in Frodwal, in Itsoseng, in Ditsobotla local municipality.
knowing the background of this particular municipality, where last year we have seen there was the by-elections in this particular area, and we are aware that in terms of service delivery from the municipality is still a struggle. Hence, myself and the Premier of the province, Ntando Mnyandu, we saw it fit that today, first day, we must come to Ngake Primary School in Fotwal. But the main reason why we came here, during SOPA pronouncement by the Premier last year, the Premier was very clear in terms of a national school nutrition program to say that we must add breakfast in one of the schools. 300 and something schools were identified as beneficiaries from this particular national school nutrition program. So we came here just to monitor, to check whether the kids are receiving breakfast like we have promised in the last financial year, that this will be one of the schools that will benefit. And besides that, Fifi, one must also indicate and remind our people out there the history of this area is the same. 2011, if I'm not mistaken, there was an incident where 4 learners or 4 children died because of starvation. Hence, the Premier saw it fit that he must adopt one of the schools around this particular area.
And how do you ensure, that unfortunate and sad incident 2011 where children died in this area looking for their mother and died due to starvation. But do you see this program making an impact, particularly in the rural schools, in the rural areas, the nutrition feeding scheme program? Is it making some sort of a positive impact looking at the family backgrounds where these kids come from?
Fifi, the reality of the matter is that when you look at our province, the Northwest generally, it is dominated by rural areas. And you look at the background, the unemployment and so on. So I would say as the MEC that it has made a serious impact. You look at the statistics in terms of learners drop out. Compared to before, at least there is a progress registered, where now we have realized that more learners and are even completing their matric without dropping out from school, upsetting themselves from schools. At least we've received reports from different schools to say that compared to before, because each and every quarter we review our performance and our focus are basically on that issue of learners, whether are they attending full-time or not. So one can confirm, you can see even in Ngake Primary School, the parents were here. They are very happy and very excited to see the Premier being here and also seeing the MEC being here. And they appreciate also the good work that they are doing, that we are doing as a department for providing these learners with food, breakfast and lunch.
Thank you so much for your time. MEC Verulam of Education in the Northwest Province saying that clearly this nutrition program is making an impact when we're looking at learners who continue to get breakfast and lunch, but also the number of dropout of learners that has decreased, and that is how they're able to measure the impact of the program in schools.
Live for us in the Northwest Province. Thank you very much, Refiloe Sekobo, our reporter there. Also part of the going back to school coverage that we are going to be bringing throughout the morning here on Newzroom Afrika.